9-year-old Rachel gripped her dead mother's necklace as her father stood at the altar, seconds away from marrying a woman who planned to murder him for insurance money. Rachel's small voice cut through the wedding hall like a knife. "Stop, Daddy. Please don't marry her. She wants to kill you." The room exploded in gasps. Clara's sweet smile vanished, revealing something cold and dangerous underneath. But Rachel didn't care anymore. She had discovered Clara's terrible secret, and this was her last chance to save the only parent she had left. Rachel had learned to be stronger than most 9-year-olds. Just a year ago, her mother Mary had died from cancer, leaving Rachel to help her broken father pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The grief was overwhelming, but Rachel knew Daddy needed her. She grew up fast, making breakfast when Peter forgot to eat, reminding him about parent-teacher meetings, learning to braid her own hair for school. It was hard being the caretaker, but she did it because she loved him. Rachel saw the pain in her father's eyes when he looked at Mama's empty chair at dinner. She noticed the quiet moments when he thought she wasn't watching and tears would roll down his face. But Rachel was brave, just like her mother had taught her to be. As months passed, something worried her more than the grief. Daddy was so lost in his loneliness that sometimes he forgot she was there. He would stay at nothing for hours, and Rachel would have to say his name 3 times before he heard her. At 9 years old, she felt like she was taking care of a grown-up instead of the other way around. When Daddy met Clara at the grocery store downtown, Rachel wanted to be happy for him. Clara was pretty, with perfect makeup and styled hair, and she made Daddy laugh again. For the first time in a year, Peter started singing in the car and planning weekend trips to the park. But from the very first moment, Rachel felt something cold and wrong about Clara. Her smiles looked fake, like the mean kids at school who were nice to the teacher but nasty when no one was looking. When Daddy wasn't watching, Clara's eyes would turn hard and calculating. Rachel tried to tell herself she was just being jealous. Maybe she didn't want anyone to take Mama's place. But deep in her heart, she remembered her mother's last words: "Trust your feelings, baby girl. If something feels wrong, pay attention." Within 6 months, Daddy proposed to Clara in their small apartment. Rachel watched from the top of the stairs as Clara said yes, jumping up and down with fake excitement. But when Clara thought no one was looking, Rachel saw her real face, cold, mean, and calculating. That's when Rachel knew she had to protect her father. She had no idea how dangerous Clara really was. The morning after the proposal, Rachel woke to the smell of pancakes. Clara was at their stove, flipping golden pancakes like she owned the place. "Good morning, sweetie," Clara sang, too cheerfully. Daddy sat at the table with the biggest smile Rachel had seen since before Mama got sick. But seeing Clara in Mama's kitchen, using Mama's pan, made Rachel's stomach feel tight. That afternoon, while Daddy was at work, Rachel kept hearing Clara talking on the phone. She crept closer to the kitchen door, her heart beating fast. "Yes, everything is going exactly as planned," Clara said in a voice completely different from her sweet sing-songy voice. This voice was hard and mean. "The wedding is in 3 weeks. After that, it should only take a few days." Rachel pressed her ear closer to the door crack. "Don't worry about the kid," Clara continued. "She's too young to cause any real problems. And Peter trusts me completely. He's so grateful that someone loves him again. He'll believe anything I tell him." The way Clara said Daddy's name made Rachel feel sick. "Just make sure everything is ready on your end, Jackson," Clara said. "Once I'm his wife, the insurance money will be easy to get. And this house will be worth a lot when we sell it." Insurance money. Rachel's hands started shaking. Why would Clara be talking about insurance money? And who was Jackson? Rachel decided she needed to find out more. The next afternoon, while Clara was supposedly running errands, Rachel did something that would have gotten her in big trouble if Mama were still alive. She went through Clara's purse. Her hands shook as she carefully opened the black leather bag. Inside, she found Clara's phone, some makeup, and a small notebook with numbers and names written in it. One name jumped out, Jackson Miller, followed by a phone number and the words, "Bus Station Plan B." Rachel quickly wrote down the number just as Clara came back into the kitchen. "What are you doing, sweetie?" Clara asked, her voice having that fake sweetness again. I was just getting some water, Rachel said, her heart pounding so hard she was sure Clara could hear it. Later, Rachel had Clara on the phone again. The poison will work perfectly. He'll never suspect anything. A heart attack on his honeymoon. So sad, so tragic. His poor new wife will be devastated. Poison. Clara was planning to poison Daddy. Rachel had to cover her mouth with both hands to keep from screaming. Her legs felt so weak she had to sit down on the floor. Clara wasn't marrying Daddy because she loved him. She was marrying him so she could kill him and take all his money. Rachel ran to the phone and dialed the one person she knew would believe her. Uncle Gabriel, it's Rachel. I need help. Something terrible is going to happen to Daddy. Uncle Gabriel had been Daddy's best friend since college. He was like the uncle Rachel never had, always bringing her books and taking her to the zoo when Daddy was too sad after Mama died. Slow down, little bird, Uncle Gabriel said in his calm, deep voice. What's wrong? It's Clara, Rachel said, the words tumbling out fast. She doesn't really love Daddy. She's going to marry him and then poison him and take his money. I heard her talking on the phone about it. There was a long silence. Rachel, Uncle Gabriel said carefully. That's a very serious thing to say. Are you sure about what you heard? I'm sure. She was talking to someone named Jackson about poison and life insurance money. Uncle Gabriel, she's going to kill Daddy. Uncle Gabriel was quiet for a moment. Rachel, I believe you, but we need to be smart about this. Can you write down exactly what you heard Clara say? And if you hear her making any more phone calls, try to write those down too. But be very, very careful. Rachel felt a little bit better. At least now someone believed her. But she also felt scared. If Clara found out that Rachel knew about her plan, what would Clara do to her? 3 days before the wedding, Rachel knew she needed proof that grown-ups would believe. Uncle Gabriel had told her to get a recording if possible. When Clara stepped out onto the balcony to take a call from Jackson, Rachel grabbed her hidden phone and crept as close to the glass door as she dared. She pressed record and held the phone up toward the balcony. Are you kidding me? Clara was saying, her voice sharp and angry. You better not mess this up, Jackson. I've been working on this for 6 months. Rachel's hands were shaking, but she kept the phone steady. Tomorrow, I become Mrs. Peter Williams, Clara continued. Sunday morning, we drive up to the cabin for our romantic honeymoon. Sunday night, you meet me there with the poison. Monday morning, Peter has his coffee and dies. Monday afternoon, I'm calling the police, crying about how my new husband had a heart attack. And by Tuesday, we are on a plane to Mexico with his life insurance money. Rachel could hardly believe Clara was saying all this out loud. $500,000, Jackson. That's what this man is worth to us. So you better not disappoint me. Clara paused. Of course the kid will be there. But like I said, after Peter dies, she's not my problem anymore. I'll drop her off with some relatives and disappear. She's too smart for her own good anyway. Rachel stopped recording and ran back to her room, her heart pounding. She had done it. She had proof. The morning of the wedding, Uncle Gabriel picked up Rachel at 7:15 a.m. Clara had tried to stop them, but Uncle Gabriel insisted it was father-daughter bonding time that Peter had requested. At the police station, Detective Martinez listened carefully as Rachel played the recording. When it ended, the detective was quiet for a long moment. This is very serious, she said finally. But Rachel, I need you to understand something. What we have here is a recording of someone talking about a crime they are planning to commit, but they haven't actually committed it yet. But she's going to kill my daddy, Rachel said, her voice small and scared. I believe you, Detective Martinez said. And we are going to do everything we can to stop that from happening. But legally, it's complicated. Rachel felt her heart sinking. So you're not going to stop the wedding? I'm going to send officers to keep an eye on things, Detective Martinez said. But Rachel, if Clara really is planning what you think she's planning, she's not going to do anything at the wedding. According to your recording, she's planning to wait until the honeymoon. Rachel felt desperate. The police weren't going to stop the wedding. Clara was going to become her stepmother, and then Daddy would die. On the drive back home, Uncle Gabriel was very quiet. "What are we going to do?" Rachel asked. "I'm thinking," Uncle Gabriel said. "But I'm not willing to just sit back and hope for the best." For the next few hours, Rachel had to help Clara get ready for the wedding. She had to zip up Clara's beautiful white dress, hold her jewelry, watch her put on makeup. The whole time, all Rachel could think about was Clara's voice on the recording. At the church, everyone was so happy and excited. All of Daddy's friends and family were there, smiling and taking pictures. Rachel sat in the front row wearing her best dress and her mother's necklace. Uncle Gabriel sat next to her, watching everything carefully. As the wedding march began and Clara walked down the aisle, Rachel felt like she might throw up. Everyone was smiling. Some people were crying happy tears. "Dearly beloved," the pastor began, "we are gathered here today to witness the union of Peter and Clara in holy matrimony." Rachel gripped Uncle Gabriel's hand. Her mother's necklace felt warm against her chest. "Marriage is a sacred commitment," the pastor continued. "It is built on trust, honesty, and love." Trust, honesty, love. Clara didn't have any of those things. If anyone has any reason why these two should not be married, speak now or forever hold your peace. The church was completely silent. This was it. This was Rachel's moment. But her voice wouldn't work. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "Very well then," the pastor said, starting to move on. "Wait." The word came out much louder than Rachel had intended. Everyone in the church turned to look at her. Rachel stood up on shaky legs. She touched her mother's necklace for courage. "Daddy," she said, her voice trembling but getting stronger. "Please don't marry her." The church erupted in surprised whispers and gasps. "Daddy," Rachel said louder now, her voice carrying through the silent church. "She wants to kill you." "Rachel, what are you saying?" Daddy's voice was confused and hurt. "Peter, she's just upset," Clara said quickly, her voice shaking. "She's been acting strange all week." "No, Daddy, listen to me," Rachel said, stepping into the aisle. "I heard her talking on the phone. She's planning to poison your coffee on your honeymoon. She wants your life insurance money." The guests started murmuring louder now. Someone gasped. "That's ridiculous," Clara said, but her voice was getting higher and more panicked. "Peter, she's obviously having some kind of breakdown." "I'm not having a breakdown," Rachel said, pulling out her phone. "I recorded her talking to someone named Jackson. They have it all planned out." "Play it," Uncle Gabriel said, standing up beside Rachel. "Play the recording, little bird." Clara's face went completely white. "Play it, Rachel," Detective Martinez called out from the back of the church, walking down the aisle. "Let everyone hear what you recorded." With shaking fingers, Rachel found the recording and pressed play. Clara's voice filled the church. "Tomorrow, I become Mrs. Peter Williams. Sunday morning, we drive up to the cabin for our romantic honeymoon. Sunday night, you meet me there with the poison. Monday morning, Peter has his coffee and dies." The church erupted. People were gasping, talking, standing up. Rachel heard someone say, "Call the police." Daddy was staring at Clara with an expression Rachel had never seen before. "Clara," he said quietly. "Tell me this isn't real." But Clara wasn't looking at Daddy anymore. She was backing away toward the side door. "This is insane," she said, but her voice was shrill now. "You're going to believe a 9-year-old over me." That's when Clara snapped. "You little brat," she screamed at Rachel, her face twisted with rage. "You've ruined everything." The church went completely silent. Everyone was staring at Clara in shock. "What I'm talking about?" Clara shouted. "Do you think I actually enjoyed pretending to love you?" pretending to care about your stupid dead wife and your annoying kid. Rachel saw Daddy's face crumple. Detective Martinez stepped forward. Clara Morrison, or whatever your real name is, you're under arrest. 2 police officers appeared and caught Clara as she tried to run. As they led her away in handcuffs, still screaming and protesting, Rachel ran to Daddy and threw her arms around his waist. "I'm sorry, Daddy," she whispered. "I'm so sorry I ruined your wedding. But I couldn't let her hurt you." Daddy wrapped his arms around her and held her tight. "You saved my life," he whispered. "Oh, sweetheart, you saved my life." Detective Martinez later revealed that Clara and Jackson had been running their deadly con for 3 years, targeting at least 6 other men across 3 states. 2 of them had died under suspicious circumstances that were ruled natural heart attacks at the time. "Your courage started something really important," Detective Martinez told Rachel. "We think we're going to be able to prevent a lot of other families from going through what you and your father almost went through." Rachel's story made national news. Other children who noticed something wrong about a parent's new partner learned from her example and spoke up, saving their families too. A year later, Rachel and Daddy were sitting by the river on a sunny Saturday afternoon. "You know what I realized?" Daddy said. "I spent so much time missing Mama and feeling lonely that I forgot how perfect our family already was. Just you and me." Rachel smiled and leaned against his shoulder. "We're a pretty good team." "The best team," Daddy agreed. "And I promise you, if I ever decide to date anyone again, which won't be for a very long time, I'm going to listen to you from the very beginning." That night, as Daddy tucked her into bed, Rachel looked at the drawing on her wall and at Mama's picture smiling down at her. "Daddy," she said sleepily, "I think Mama would be proud of our little family." "I think she would be too," Daddy said, kissing her forehead. "I think she would be very, very proud of both of us." As Rachel drifted off to sleep, wearing her mother's necklace and feeling safe and loved, she knew that sometimes the most important thing a person can do is trust their heart and find the courage to speak up for the people they love. And sometimes, even when you're just 9 years old, you can be the hero your family needs. This powerful story teaches us several invaluable lessons. Trust your instincts. Rachel knew something was wrong with Clara from the very beginning. Even when the adults around her couldn't see it, she trusted her gut feeling. We should never ignore that inner voice when something feels off. Courage comes in small packages. Rachel was just 9 years old, but she had the courage to stand up against an adult criminal in front of hundreds of people. Age doesn't determine bravery, your heart does. Speak up, even when it's hard. The hardest part for Rachel was standing up in that church and speaking the truth. Sometimes doing the right thing means facing our greatest fears. Silence can be deadly, but one voice speaking truth can save lives. Love protects. Rachel's love for her father gave her the strength to do something terrifying. When we truly love someone, we find courage we didn't know we had. Adults don't always know best. Children can see things adults miss, especially when adults are blinded by loneliness or hope. If you see something wrong, tell someone who will listen. It's never too late to stop a mistake. Even at the altar, even at the last possible moment, it wasn't too late for Rachel to save her father. It's never too late to speak the truth. Remember, if something feels wrong, trust that feeling. If someone you love is in danger, speak up. And never underestimate the power of one brave voice to change everything. Did Rachel's story of courage inspire you? If this story touched your heart, moved you to tears, or reminded you of the power one person can have, please subscribe to our channel right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another powerful story that could change your perspective on life, love, and courage. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, maybe a child who needs to know their voice matters, or a friend who needs courage to speak their truth. Drop a comment below and tell us. What would you have done in Rachel's situation? Have you ever had to speak up when something felt wrong? What lesson from this story resonated with you most? We read every single comment and love hearing how these stories impact your lives. Coming next week, a story about an elderly woman who discovers her caregiver's shocking secret, and the unlikely alliance that saves not just her life, but an entire community. You won't want to miss it. Remember, your story matters. Your voice matters. And sometimes, Being brave for just one moment can change everything. Subscribe now and join our family of storytellers and truth seekers. See you in the next story. Bell, subscribe, thumbs up, like, speech balloon, comment, outbox, tray, share. Together, we're building a community that believes in courage, truth, and the power of love to overcome evil.